My name is Brandon Satrom, and I'm the VP of Developer Experience and VP of Product at Blues. Blues is a hardware-forward services company that is built to help our customers transform their physical products into data-driven, intelligent solutions. We exist to really connect the unconnected, to give our customers the ability to take the massive data that's being generated by physical products all around the world and seamlessly, quickly, securely get those into the cloud, regardless of the wireless radio access technology they're using, regardless of the device's location, so that they can make decisions, monitor their applications, and figure out how to move forward, monetize, save money, maintain their fleets, whatever it may be, to give our customers the ability to gain insight around their applications and build connected solutions that are valuable to their businesses and to their ultimate customers as well. In life, there are two types of decisions: two-way door decisions and one-way door decisions. A two-way door decision is a decision that you can make and revert. There's not much consequence, not much cost. It's relatively easy to backtrack when you made a decision like that. A one-way door decision is tougher. You make a choice, you kind of have to live with it for a little while. In the world of IoT, is filled with one-way door decisions, from radio access technology to microcontroller that you choose to cloud infrastructure, you name it. Almost every part of the IoT is filled with all of these one-way door decisions that developers tend to have to feel like they live with or they have to make up front, and then they're just stuck with for as long as their project exists. At Blues, we're trying to do something different, and we believe in something called wireless harmonization. And the point, or the general idea of wireless harmonization, is that we want to enable developers to build and deploy solutions without making a lot of one-way door decisions, that you can ultimately make a lot of choices up front that are necessary, but defer some of those other unnecessary choices that sometimes can be more expensive to unwind further down the line. So rather than making a bunch of decisions up front, what we enable at Blues is that you can develop a solution and then make many of those choices. And this is very clear in three areas. And the three areas of wireless harmonization that Blues tends to be focused on is harmonization of radio access technology, or RAT, harmonization of location, and harmonization of data flow. And we believe by making those three, taking those three areas and enabling developers to make two-way door decisions, or not to have to make many of those decisions up front, that it's easier than ever for developers to build solutions where you can develop, then make those decisions about where you're ultimately going to host that application in the field. First, let's talk about harmonization of RAT, or radio access technology. And this tends to be the trickiest, because in the world of IoT, connectivity, wireless connectivity, tends to be fraught with a lot of consequences based on any choice that you make. So if you're making a choice to build a wireless solution and you're deploying in an area that's urban or rural, you may choose a technology like LoRa and LoRaWAN, or cellular as opposed to Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or even Ethernet in the case of an industrial deployment. But we believe that developers shouldn't have to make those choices up front, because there are lots of solutions, there are lots of projects and products out there in this world where you're making a decision of what wireless access technology you want closer to the point of actual deployment. Right? There are not many solutions out there that are built for just one actual deployment model. There are many solutions that sometimes get deployed in a factory, sometimes they get deployed in an agricultural setting, and it may be the same solution ultimately running the same firmware, the same hardware ideally. But in a world without wireless harmonization, what developers have to do is they have to make that choice up front. They have to bet on LoRaWAN and deal with all of the downstream consequences and costs that come with making that RAT choice up front. Or with cellular, they have to choose that that's their only deployment model, because everything from writing manual AT commands to provisioning the device in a cloud security model have to be made up front before the solution is ultimately chosen. So at Blues, we've taken a different approach, and we actually think that it's now easier than ever in the case of harmonization of radio access technologies to give the developers the ability to write a single application in a single box and a single piece of hardware, write firmware once, and have that application be something that you can deploy in a LoRa and LoRaWAN instance, in Wi-Fi, in cellular, you name it. You can ultimately make that decision further down the line. At Blues, the way this works is with our product that we call the Note Card. And the Note Card started as a cellular IoT module. Harmonization is something that's been part of our story from the beginning. When we first came out with a Note Card in late 2020, the state of the art in cellular IoT was that you weren't even harmonized across radio access technologies in the cellular space. So if you're choosing NB-IoT or 2G, 3G, or even LTE Cat or LTE Cat-M or LTE LTE Cat 1, you had to make that choice up front. You had to make the choice of which cell towers you would even have at your disposal for a solution before you wrote a single line of code, before you even spun that first PCB. Because the wireless connectivity modules that you would buy, typically modems, were pre-configured to be narrowband or wideband, pre-configured to only support narrowband IoT or 2G, 3G, etc. What we've done with the note card is we have wrapped around that concept of the cellular modem into a system on module device that we call the note card. The note card exists in a couple of different form factors. It's about 30 by 35 or 42 millimeters in size. And the idea for the note card is to be a pluggable connectivity module. When we first launched the cellular device, we launched a single device that could operate across 2G, 3G, NB-IoT, LTE Cat M, or LTE Cat 1. And all of those worked in the same form factor. So you could start with narrowband, move to wideband, you could start with a regional device, and ultimately later move to global. That was the idea of harmonizing cellular connectivity. And what our customers got out of that mix was they got to pursue a cellular connectivity option that didn't require them to make the choice of where the device was going to be deployed or what towers were going to be available in the hypothetical place where they were going to deploy the device. They were able to defer that to later. It also meant, by the way, that customers didn't have to write manual AT commands against the device. They could make that choice. They could use our very simple JSON programming API to talk to the note card and allow the note card to handle all of the complexities of communicating with the cellular tower. So that's how we started with harmonizing cellular IoT. And over the course of the last couple of years, we have taken that even further. We had lots of customers that requested Wi-Fi as well. And what we did in late 2021 and early 22 is we introduced a Wi-Fi version of the note card. Same form factor, same JSON-based programming interface, but giving customers the option to use Wi-Fi in addition to cellular, depending on where they were going to deploy their devices. And earlier this year, just a couple of months ago, we released a new version of the Wi-Fi note card that has the same functionality for half the cost. In September of 2023, we also added a new version of the note card that we're calling our Cell plus Wi-Fi note card. And this is an interesting offering because it's one of the first modules that provides both cellular and Wi-Fi in a single package. So whereas previously you had to choose between cellular or Wi-Fi with the note card that you put in your product, with a Cell plus Wi-Fi note card, you have the option to have both of those in one. And you can start with cellular and fail over to Wi-Fi, or vice versa, depending on what the situation allows for. That covers cellular, Wi-Fi, Cell plus Wi-Fi. That's a lot of the world when it comes to wireless IoT connectivity. But we also had lots of customers that are working in the LoRa and LoRaWAN space. And we recognize that there are a lot of use cases out there where the best solution is not a relatively expensive Wi-Fi or cellular module or modem, but a smaller, cheaper LoRaWAN or LoRa device that can just potentially cost a couple of bucks. So rather than adding the higher BOM cost for a solution that may be low bandwidth, may need to be run on a coin cell battery, that we had customers that really asked for LoRa as an option as well. And that is sort of, in many ways, one of the last frontiers in wireless harmonization. And so just this year also, a couple of months ago, we launched the LoRa note card. Same form factor, same JSON programming interface, but in this case, what the LoRa note card does is it talks over LoRaWAN gateways, uses our own hosted application server, and gets all of that information to the same cloud service that the rest of our products do today, which we call Note Hub. So what you get as a result, and this is why when we talk about wireless harmonization, we mean deferring the RAT, deferring the choice of radio access technology to the point of ultimate deployment. Because with the same interface, with the same form factor on the device, the same JSON-based programming API, what you get with the note card is the ability to write a single piece of firmware, a single application, build a single product in a single box, and then when you deploy that, decide, based on the point of deployment, which radio access technology is right for the solution. So in the case of an urban environment, especially in a place like Europe where LoRaWAN coverage is very healthy, you might choose to deploy your product with 100 LoRa note cards. In the case of some other city, perhaps in the United States, in New York or Chicago or a place like that, you may make the decision to deploy in cellular because that's what has the most reliable service in that area. Same firmware, same application, you're popping in a different note card and you still have a functional application. Or perhaps you're in an industrial setting with a relatively tightly controlled IoT subnet in the organization, in the building that you're operating in, that you have the ability to use the Wi-Fi note card. Lower BOM cost, just as easy to configure, same JSON programming interface, same firmware, same hardware, and your application can speak over that radio access technology as well. And they all come together in our cloud service, Note Hub. So that's harmonization of RAT. And we think that that's a really important step that will make it possible to actually deploy connected solutions in the future. The second piece of harmonization that we spend a lot of time focusing on is harmonization of location, specifically device location. Now, not every IoT device is a mobile tracking device, but almost every IoT device needs to report where it's actually physically located. There's some need to interact with it at some point. And the state of the art in location tends to be GPS or GNSS, right, where you rely on satellite location to give you a very pinpoint, accurate sense of where your device is located, even if it's in motion or if it's at rest. But there's a couple of problems with using satellite only for location. One is that it's very power hungry. If you're building a low power connected solution, you have to be very careful about how you interact with satellites in order to determine a device location. And if you need to know it relatively frequently, that can kind of blow the power budget on your project. If, on the other hand, you can't rely on GPS and GNSS, it may be because you have devices that are located indoors, where GPS isn't an option. So those two drawbacks have really led us to this place where device location also needs to benefit from that concept of harmonization. And so there's a couple of things that we have done here in our products as well. When it comes to device location and cellular, one of the things that we provide out of the box is cell tower location, right? We can, with any note card that's connected over the cell networks of our cellular connectivity partners, we can give you a sense of where the device is located based on its tower connection. Now, that's a fuzzy location. Most of the time, the device is not actually located. It's near the tower, but it's not where the tower actually lives. So there's a couple of other features that we provide on top of that. One is what we call cell tower triangulation, where we can literally pinpoint the location of the device based on hitting signal strength across multiple towers in the area. And there's also something that we call Wi-Fi triangulation. And this is an interesting feature that we provide with a note card in our Note Hub service for both Wi-Fi and cell plus Wi-Fi note cards. And Wi-Fi triangulation does the same thing as cell tower triangulation, but what it uses is scanning SSIDs, scanning wireless APs in the area, sending that information up to Note Hub, and then we have and our cloud service can actually provide a local high resolution concept or idea of where the device is physically located. And this is actually quite powerful for indoor use cases. But the reason why we call this harmonization is because when we share this information with our customers, or when we share this information to you in our Note Hub service, what it ultimately looks like is what we call best location. We determine not just giving you all of those by default and you having to decide where the device is physically located, but harmonizing those 4 different types of location into a single best location idea that you can then use to determine where this device is actually physically located, whether it's moving or whether it's fixed at any point in time. So that's harmonization of location. The final piece is what we consider to be the most interesting for the future, and that's harmonization of data flow. Because the reality is that in a world where we are spending a lot of time and money talking about AI, there is one fundamental truth that can't be missed, and this is that AI needs data. And a lot of that data is locked up in disconnected physical devices that exist all over the world today. And Blues exists to connect those devices so that our customers can transform their physical products into intelligent, connected services. And so the way that we make that possible is through our Note Hub cloud service. And that's the sort of other piece of the Blues story. I spent a lot of time talking about the note card, but it really functions as a symbiotic pair with another service, a cloud service that we offer called Note Hub. The two together really function in this sort of messy middle piece of wireless connectivity to make it easy for you to connect any sensor, any application to your ultimate cloud service by securely bringing data from your devices into our cloud service and then ultimately into your ultimate cloud service, be it AWS, Azure, GCP, Snowflake, you name it. It doesn't really matter to us. We just want to broker that information to our customers. And that's where the harmonization of data flow can be so critical and so important, because whether you're communicating over LoRaWAN, cellular, Wi-Fi, or all of the above, we give you a single pipe to send your data through into your ultimate cloud service. And it's simple and seamless, and it's no frills. And the point is that it gives you all of your device's information, all of that rich and robust data. You can build your applications with Snowflake. You can build your predictive maintenance applications. You can perform remote monitoring, build that single pane of glass view of your actual deployments in the tools, in the services that you prefer. So those three taken together, this is what we refer to as wireless harmonization. Harmonization of radio access technology, harmonization of device location, and harmonization of data flow. And what those things really enable for our customers is to connect to the unconnected, to find the unfindable, and to explain the unexplainable. And together we think that what we're enabling and what our customers will be able to do is to truly unlock the value in that massive data that lives in the world of our physical products. The Blues team and I hope to see you at CES in Las Vegas in 2024.